Hey everybody, welcome to the Healthy SBC Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Sutton. I'm here at LSU Shreveport with Erin Smith, and we're going to be talking about what she does here and why she loves serving the community. Erin, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, awesome. So just go ahead and introduce, what you do, who you are, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I'm Erin Smith. I'm the Director of Media and Public Relations here at LSU Shreveport. I am over a team of 3, and not including the student workers that we have in our department. But we handle all of the marketing, advertising, public relations, media relations, social media, website, you name it, promotion-wise of LSUS, and we handle it. So yeah, that's us.
I love it. I love it. And you obviously like what you do.
I do. Yeah. I love it. I graduated from here with my undergrad, and I'm currently getting my master's from here as well.
Sweet.
While I'm working.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I love it. We get to interface with students a lot. Help tell their stories, which then help us find other students, to bring to campus and help their lives as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
What are you getting your master's in?
Business.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is the case for you. So I'm 42. I hated learning when I was at Tech. I went to Louisiana Tech because I knew I wanted to be a physical therapist and I had to have a degree.
Right.
And then in PT school, I didn't really know if I wanted to be a PT. I still kind of don't know, but I do because I'm 42.
Right.
But I love learning now.
Yes.
And I tell, I wish I would have had the motivation at 20 that I have at 42.
Yep.
And the desire to learn.
Yeah, and you learn differently.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I wasted. Yeah.
Like,
why?
Youth is wasted on the other.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
I remember I called my dad a couple of years ago, and I was like, man, if I'd had the work ethic at 20, I have at 40, I'd be a multi-millionaire right now.
Right, you'd be unstoppable.
Yeah, I'd be unstoppable. I might be a villain, too, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't know. All right, well, so I know what your title is. What does that really involve? Do you do a lot of work in the community? Like, is it, what does that do to further LSU's mission, help the community, things like that?
Yeah. So because I handle all of the advertising and all of the marketing for our campus, it's important that I know beyond the campus what's going on.
Sure.
So I have to interface with the community quite a bit. And not even just being out in the community, being involved in things, but also looking at news stories and data and research on what's going on in our area, because sometimes the things you might hear on social media or on the news, we don't tell the whole picture or the whole story. So
the news didn't tell all the truth? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Well, we all know that, if it bleeds, it leads, right?
Yes, sure.
And, we hear a lot of the negative,
right.
but that means we may not be hearing about, this kid at a high school who got a 36 on their ACT,
That's right.
They may not be the lead story. So it's good for us to know what's going on outside of this ring road here. And then also what is happening inside the ring road, to know what's going on with our students, our faculty, our staff, to be able to make sure that we are appropriately telling the story of who we are, so that the people outside of these walls know how they want to interact with us and want to come to school here or whatever, because of the good community that we are.
Yeah. So what I take away from that is one, you want to know what's going on in the community so you can serve and pull that into here. But 2, you want to attract the right people to LSUS.
Exactly.
I love that. I mean, so there's a saying in marketing, I know, if you try to serve everybody, you serve nobody.
Exactly.
So you've really taken that a little step further, and you have to go out and do those things.
Yep.
Cool. So the way we met was at the sales conference that y'all had here, and I think you did your talk, and it was all with a lot of music, and I was the idiot that was like, yeah, my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. And I was like, yeah. And so I thought that was awesome, but I was really upset that you didn't use all your music stuff, after a little bit. But talk about why y'all brought that here and the importance of that.
Yeah, so we, our College of Business here on our campus is huge. A lot of people don't know that. You may walk through this campus and not see it, especially in the summertime, but we have a huge online student population in our master's program. So our College of Business, we have thousands of students from all over the world who come to LSUS to get their master's. In Masters in Business or in Health Administration. We've got other online masters as well. But because of that, this kind of, the idea of having a sales conference here really was born out of the College of Business and its success, and as well as some community partners coming to us and be like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
So we got to work with them, sort of putting all that together, finding key players in the community that we wanted to come and speak, things that we thought would be relevant to different kinds of salespeople, because we had media track or, car sales or healthcare or whatever.
Sure.
So that way there could be maybe something for everybody. And yeah, it was our first one to do, and it went pretty well. So we're really hoping to do another one.
Yeah. I absolutely loved it. I saw Jordan Cole today, one of the speakers.
Yeah.
He and I, we've known each other for several years, and I just happened to see him.
I loved his talk.
And I said, man, listen, that talk you gave, because he said he's had a couple more invitations to speak. He said, but it just wiped him out.
Mm.
And I said, dude, I love speaking in public. So, if you want me to go talk about your subject, I'll do it. But I said, man, what you talked about was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Because they talked about getting 3,000, email list of 3,000 people in just a few hours.
Yep.
And I said, if you do that for physical therapy businesses, if you do that for any business, they would be willing to pay you to give them a list of 3,000 people that they could possibly sell
Yep,
to.
of warm contacts that they use AI to get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was phenomenal. And he's like, well, you just validated an idea I have. I was like, I'll validate all your ideas. I
know, it was fascinating.
The whole thing I thought was great. I think there was a lot of guys here from, was it Fiberbond? It wasn't Fiberbond, but it was, Fastenal. There's a lot of Fastenal guys here. So, I'm a physical therapist. I'm in healthcare. That has nothing to do with healthcare. The AI has a lot to do with healthcare, depending on who you talk to. I love it. I use it every day. But there was something for everybody. Yeah. Like, just because we're in healthcare, business is business.
Sales can be sales.
That's right. And what relationships are
exactly.
So I thought that was a phenomenal thing, and I'm super excited for another one. How did y'all set that up? I mean, I know you said people came to you. Mm-hmm. What kind of went in the process of picking who would speak, do you think?
Oh, well, I think first it was identifying the lanes we wanted, the topics we wanted to cover. And then kind of finding, okay, who are local people that we know who are standouts in those areas, and get them here. And all of us who kind of helped pull it together had different contacts with different, verticals and whatnot. So yeah, it was just kind of word of mouth and community, and figuring out who should be in the room, who would be best to teach others.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, like I said, it was just a great experience, and I'm excited for y'all to have some more. What are y'all kind of looking for with people to come into the environment here and contribute to the community?
Oh, there's lots of different ways to integrate with LSUS. Obviously, you can be an undergrad student, right? A lot of people we don't necessarily like this, but we typically are not people's first choice for school, which is fine. They come to us eventually. Sure. But we would like to be their first choice. And I think if people came to the campus more or knew more about it, which is what we're trying to do, that we could be more highly ranked. Yeah. But a lot of times we get a lot of transfers from the BIPSI and the SUSLA, or we get folks who went way off to school and we're like, okay, maybe this environment is not for me, it's too big or whatever, I need to be closer to home, and that's where we come in. And you get a solid education, and we have really low tuition comparatively to a lot of other places. Solid education, and you're close to home. And then with our master's programs, you can, because we have the online and we have some that are in person, depending on what you want to go into, we have extremely rigorous courses. Like, I'm doing the MBA right now, and it's kicking my tail. I'm not gonna lie, it's kicking my tail. But like, our online courses are accelerated, so you could get a master's if you were super dedicated and, I'm gonna say, a little bit crazy. You can get it in 10 months. Right. Oh gosh. That's like doubling up. That's hardware, and I'm not about that life. But there are plenty of, we've had students that have done that. Sure. Work a full-time job, have kids, and they're taking 2 courses in 7 weeks at a time and rotating through. But then also we try to have a lot of community events. Like, we host like the Sales Summit, but then we also have the regional spelling bee, where we have all these young ones from the area come and compete for the spelling bee, and that's such a fun day. It's such a fun day. And then I know it's stressful for the kids, but it's so
Sure,
cute for all of us watching them.
Love watching the kids,
Yeah. And then we got summer camps for kids over the summer, and we also just host events for other people. I mean, people get married on our campus and all that kind of stuff. So we want to be a resource for anything anything that we can be, because obviously there are things that we don't provide or can't provide, but all the things that we do provide, we want to be a resource.
Well, I talked to Lee Chambers after the sales summit, and I said, I would love to put something together like this for like concierge direct primary care doctors in town, because there's about 10 now, and then people like I do concierge PT, just to kind of educate people on what that is and why we chose to do that instead of regular healthcare. And I said I just haven't put together in my mind how to sell it to the other professionals. She's like, we host stuff like that here all the time, and I had no idea.
We host a lot of stuff for the military too. Like we hosted the huge nuclear triad symposium. So we have like bigwigs from the Air Force who are all in nuclear warfare stuff come here and talk about war games and things, and the rest of us who aren't, who are just standing in the back of the room with our eyes glazed over.
Right.
But they're talking about all very critical information stuff. We have it right here on our campus.
Yeah, but
same room.
The facility was wonderful where we had the summit, and I mean it was just amazing. So I had no idea. Again, we have all these amazing things in our Shreveport Bossier community, and half of us don't know that they're there or that we can utilize those. I love it. My brain just stopped working on the next question I was going to ask you, which is why sometimes I write questions down, but it'll be okay. What do you love the most about what you're doing?
Oh, I like knowing that the things that me and my team are doing could have an effect on some student out there who has no idea that they can experience higher education and elevate themselves. And that they can come here and experience that and grow beyond anything they ever thought that they could.
I love that.
It's so impactful whenever we get to finally hear those stories, because sometimes we're a little removed from it and we don't get to, but when we do and we identify those, it's I don't know, it's hard to describe. Like it's just really, really heartwarming. When people think that, I'm not going to be able to pay for school, and then they come in the door and realize, we offer scholarships on top of your tops. Like if you have a decent GPA and a decent ACT score, we're paying you on top of that. The institution is. And then there are lots of other scholarships you could get to go even further on top of that. So you could get paid to go to school while you're at LSUS. And then, we have student worker jobs and all the things, but for them to come here and, realize that stuff and then be able to push themselves beyond is great. There was a study that came out last year actually that ranked our university as number 1 in the state, and we were in the tier 1. I can't remember how big the tier was, for economic mobility for our students.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's huge now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
We have almost 60% of our student population is first generation, so they did not have parents that went to college. So they come in not knowing how to navigate things. And so it's part of our job, especially on the social media side, to make it fun, but help them figure those things out.
So I went to Louisiana Tech because I lived in that area.
Yeah.
And now my daughter wants to go to Tech. We live in Benton. I'm like, why don't you just go to LSUS? You can get a great education. You can stay at home. She's like, I want to go to Tech because that's where you went. I'm like, whatever. Good school, but I loved it because it was small and affordable. And then LSU is small. LSUS is small and affordable. A beautiful campus. And I love that.
We have so many great higher ed choices in this region. I mean, if you think about it, there's us, BIPC, Southern, Centenary, and the med school. We have 5 just in Shreveport Bossier.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And so so I talked to Erin right before I came here, and Adam's over at the HEP building, and he's talking about the outreach that they do with the community and doing and serving underserved kids and letting them come in and get testing and all these things. And then you're talking about that, and so basically what I start to realize and what I want everybody to get out of this episode is LSUS is about serving Shreveport and the Bossier City community.
Very much so. We so Erin over in the Human Performance Lab, they do all kinds of cool stuff. Linwood Charters the kids come here to do weightlifting. We have a psychology clinic now that we do like testing for kids with dyslexia and whatever, and do like therapy strategies with them to help them overcome some of that stuff. and with reading issues and things. I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, this summer we offered we called it Career Academies. To make the camp sound fun.
Yeah.
But it was for kids transitioning from 8th grade to 9th grade who maybe needed a little extra math or English help.
Oh, I love that.
But we did it around a career. So it was like cybersecurity or a video game designer or something in healthcare, right? So that way it was kind of a hook to draw them in.
Yeah.
They didn't realize they were learning, but they were learning.
But it was fun.
Exactly.
And it was outreach.
And they got to learn about the community from professionals in those fields too.
Because now, like, there are, I don't know how many thousands of professions now that didn't even exist when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like in the 90s, we weren't talking about AI. We were, but it's like, oh, in 2020.
Well, right, exactly. It's like Terminator stuff.
Yeah, like Terminator. So now we have all these, professions that didn't exist.
Yes.
And, my daughter wants to be a vet. My son wants to be a ninja. So I don't know what he's going to be, but he may have a job that didn't even exist when I was a kid.
Exactly. It may not even exist right now.
Right. And so I love that. I love that y'all are doing those programs. I love that y'all are helping the community, and which is what this podcast is all about, making the community better. So that's awesome. Yeah. If there's one final thing that you just are passionate about that you want to talk about, get after it. It could be personal, professional, Star Wars related.
Yes, we have bonded over the Star Wars. If I did something, I think if I were going to talk about anything else, it would be more marketing and social media stuff related. Kind of the evangelism that I gave.
Yes, please do.
At the conference.
Evangelize.
Yes. Because I think when people run social media pages for their business, you're really great at the thing that you do for business, right? Absolutely. So sometimes when it comes to the social media thing, it's like, oh, I know I got to post, or I know I got to do this, so let me go do it. And it really doesn't have to be as tenuous or as stressful as it can be, because it is out of the wheelhouse of so many people. Yeah. And so that was kind of the thing I talked at the conference about, was some easy tips to take back and do, and not to, set aside an hour a day to do it. Don't let it eat you up. I know that it can. Yeah. We all get sucked in and do this and start the doom scroll, right? But to try to set some limits for yourself. Not only for your business purposes, right? But for your own mental health and sanity. Yeah. And this is the one thing that I really love to tell people. It's like, don't argue with your customers in the comments.
Amen. That is evangelical right there.
Yeah, because I think we've all seen businesses and companies do it, where we have somebody who's a disgruntled customer and they come on there and they say something awful about your business, whether it's true or not. Yeah. And you have this need to correct them or tell them something.
Just fall on your sword and get it over with.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm so sorry you had a bad experience. You know what? Let me direct message you, and we can talk about this privately or whatever. But don't argue with them in the comments. And when you do take it into the direct messages, actually follow through with it. A lot of times that person's not going to follow you over there to have a conversation. They just wanted to rant. But the thing is you're posting that saying, hey, let's have a conversation about it. Let me make this right. In the comments, you're not really doing that for them. You're doing it for all those other people who are coming and seeing that.
Oh, they took care of this.
Yep. Oh, look, they take care of their people.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Erin, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I loved it.
Yeah.